I've got the looks and the charm of an old movie star. Cary Grant, if you will, so I find it bizarre that this girl should refuse to step into my car. She must be shy, she'll come around, it's just a matter of time. Aurora, Aurora.
Hey there, Screen Beans, and welcome to Screen Snark, the show that celebrates the continued solidarity of the screen actors we all know and love. I am Rachel Corky Shank.
And I am Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon.
Champion's here. He just jumped on my lap right when I said it. Yeah.
Otis, I think, is snoozing somewhere.
We'll see if he says anything at all.
We may hear a jingle or two.
As he is wont to do. Hi, Matt. How are you?
I'm okay. Tired. Constantly. Forever.
Yeah. Screen Snark, the new brand, we're fucking tired.
Yeah. I think.
Have you met us?
Yeah.
We're very tired
now.
Yeah.
I think.
Our guest last week, very tired.
I'm sure our current guest too is too. Yeah. I think.
We're all so busy.
Yeah, we're all so busy.
Hey, remember when we spent 2 years doing absolutely nothing and we were all like, wish I could do things.
Yeah.
Now we're doing things again.
I mean,
I'm tired.
Technically, I was doing a lot of things still then because I was just doing more digital things, but I was still doing things. But yeah. I had more time, though, because I was home all the time. I was also unemployed then, which gave me a lot of free time. That I don't have now. Ugh. Anyway, we should probably introduce our guest.
Anyway, let's ramble. Hello.
Our guest is on the podcast for the third time, second time rolling solo, but we're very excited to have him back because he's an utter and complete delight. It's Jacob McCourt.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm wearing shin guards because I was also doing a thing right before this.
Nice.
Yeah. Look at us go.
Look at us go doing too much. I mean, Jacob went and just started another podcast, and as someone who can speak from experience, that's always that's a bad idea.
Sorry.
How dare you?
I did the thing I'm not supposed to do.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
Today
another podcast. I was contemplating like how much the landscape of everything has changed, and I was like, remember in 2018 when I started a podcast and it was like, I have a podcast, I'm gonna drink a beer while I do it, and now it's like, I have a podcast I've been doing for nigh on a couple years now, I'm gonna smoke some weed or I do this. It's like the change of time, the evolution of how one podcast. Actually, no. Today it was I took a nap.
Yeah.
Before this.
In the words of Smash Mouth, and they don't stop coming, and they don't stop coming.
They stop coming, and they don't stop coming.
Yeah.
And they don't stop coming, and they don't stop coming, and they don't stop coming.
That's
the whole song.
Yep.
Rest in peace.
I
mean, he was kind of a dick, but still, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think he was. I don't know. I can't remember.
No, wait, what?
Was the lead singer of Smash Mouth a dick, or am I thinking of someone else?
Are they alive or dead?
He passed, didn't he? The lead
he
singer?
passed,
okay.
yeah.
The lead singer of Smash Mouth did pass.
Yeah. Sorry,
I just can't remember
confused.
if he was an asshole or not. Anyway, not the point.
I thought he was like fine.
He was probably fine. I think he probably just. Oh no, he wasn't an asshole. He just did have a concert during COVID, so that's kind of an asshole.
That's like an asshole move.
Yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
None of this is relevant to today's episode, although it is very on brand. We're happy to have Jacob back. We're going to talk about his brand new podcast and his old podcast a little later on. But we'll probably just shoot the shit because we've interviewed you before, but we will give you a chance to plug. But before we do any of that, we will, as always, talk about the most recent thing we've done, ? And typically I go first, but Rachel's been going first. Rachel, do you want to go first again?
Sure, I watched something.
Hell
and
yeah.
It's relevant to me talking about how I took a nap.
Love it.
Uh-oh.
Let's go.
So as we all know, Tuesday was Halloween.
Correct.
Very, very spooky, fun time. And I got roped into watching WCW's Halloween Havoc.
Let's go.
From 1998.
Let's go.
Wow.
Let's go. Okay. And look, I know the rule is we are supposed to talk about a completed thing we watched.
Right.
However, I fell asleep on my couch because I only got partway through it. I've been like slowly watching it over a few days. It's like 3 hours and 16 minutes.
Oh, those pay-per-views
were
so long
yeah.
back then.
Now, I'm going to drop a little trivia that I was given about this particular pay-per-view. When it premiered, WCW did not tell the pay-per-view company that it was going to go over 3 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
So the feed cut before the main event.
Incredible.
Which they ended up just airing for free on Nitro the next time they aired. So they just were like, here's the main event from this pay-per-view, because nobody got to watch it. So everybody thought the last match was like
Hogan Warrior
versus Warrior, which is the match I fell asleep during.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
How many leg drops were there?
I don't know, because I fell asleep. I was like, I was so excited. I was so delighted. I was watching like Bret Hart go against Sting,
Excellent.
just like putting Sting on a stretcher in an ambulance. Great stuff.
Yeah.
Great stuff, y'all. And then Hogan showed up, and I was like, I'm tired. I'm already tired. So I did not watch the final 2 matches of Halloween Havoc, but the rest of it was delightful. And now I am in love with Disco Inferno, just as favorite. An entity, just as a thing. It is, I will say, it is quite wild to watch pay-per-views of wrestling shows from the past, because pay-per-views are sort of meant to culminate storylines, shift titles, they're very big deals. They're like, here are the like climaxes of certain stories. Like, let's get it done. Like the Steiner brothers feud, was like coming to a head. That was a great match though. And what I really love is good wrestling, very similar to good burlesque. Like, if it's good enough, it can stand on its own without you needing to understand every detail. I think a lot about that when I saw, what was it, Kate Nix and Liberty Bell.
Rose? No, Liberty Rose.
Liberty Rose did a Moonrise Kingdom burlesque act, and I've never seen that movie. And I understood exactly the vibe of what that act was going for. So, I always think about that. So like that Steiner Brothers match was really evocative, because it was just a really good match on its own, and just like peppered with this extra, like, yeah, these 2 guys are brothers. They're going to have the singles match, but now it's going to be a tag match. And all these like twists and turns. So it was a really good example of how timeless wrestling can be.
Yeah.
I didn't need to know exactly who the Steiner brothers were to understand the story. Like, what's the story here? What is this match conveying? I was mostly impressed with like the things I watched until I fell asleep and did not see the Warrior fight Hollywood Hogan.
Well, I think he lit himself on fire in that match, if I'm not mistaken.
I have every intention of going back and just finishing it. I did go on Wikipedia and sort of read that like the Warrior Hogan match was like one of the all-time worst matches of WCW.
It was pretty bad.
But the one after that, which is, I had it in my brain.
Goldberg DDP.
Goldberg and DDP, like one of their best matches. So like incredible. Again, like timeless wrestling. You can have a wrestling show where you have just like a dookie match, and then next you'll have the greatest match you've ever seen. I have been to enough like indie wrestling shows where that is the case, and it's funny to see that sort of expand onto like televised like the big money wrestling stuff, where it's like, yo, sometimes you just don't have the chemistry. Sometimes you might have an idea and it's just not the right idea. Like it's great. This crazy sport that I love is so varied in what it's doing. I've also started to notice like structure to match when I watch things, and it's interesting to watch how structure is played with. And that's all I'll say about that. Because I don't want to get too like in the weeds.
Have you been doing more chain wrestling in your match after watching some matches?
Oh, I love chain wrestling. We work through chaining stuff all the time. I know some very fun, weird ways to like make you deeply uncomfortable.
More rest holds, right?
I'm gonna twist your arm and then grab you around the throat. It's great. It's great. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you real good.
I'm so glad you're watching this pay-per-view. So this pay-per-view is from the height of my wrestling fandom. So I love the Attitude Era of the WWE and the height of WCW. I think
I love WCW. I've watched their first Monday Nitro at Mall of America. Genius. Just they have the audience just like riding the escalators like the whole fucking time. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I love this. Vince, you crazy man. Vince Russo, you crazy man. I love you. Get out of here.
And like that era specifically had some of my favorite wrestlers. Like I think I've talked about on the show before how much I love DDP, and I couldn't even really tell you why, other than he was kind of pure energy. Like he didn't like he was always high energy. It's the same reason I like Goldberg, right? Like they made this gimmick of a guy coming in and like clobbering people, and like it made him larger than life. In the same way the Giant was larger than life, and those kinds of characters.
Oh yeah,
they felt more.
I love baby Paul White. Are you kidding me? Every time I'm like, oh, he's so baby.
But like even you mentioned Disco Inferno, like it reminded me that I had toys for both WWE and WCW, and I remember the early WCW toys being hard plastic and like the like bigger and leaner. Like they were just designed very differently from like because WWE had been making toys for so long and had like the rubber ones and then the more like hard plastic ones, but they always had this kind of form, this kind of hunched form, whereas like the WCW toys looked more humanoid in a way, which was really interesting. But like I love that pay-per-view is really great, but also like you mentioned Sting and Bret Hart, and like I loved Sting. I liked old Sting, and then I was a goth and a heavy and a metalhead in high school. I know.
No way.
And so like the Crow Sting, clearly ripping off the Crow, I still loved it. I just I ate it up every time he showed up in the ring. And also like we talked, Undertaker is my favorite wrestler, and like Dark Sting was the Undertaker. That's all it was. It was the same shtick, except he would come from the ceiling instead of ripping through the ring or from under being buried alive. Like, but it was the same shtick, more or less. It was all fear-based, and it was really interesting.
Yeah.
Are you going to be watching the Sting's kind of final run that's happening now in AEW, even though he's like literally 62 years old or something, and still taking the craziest bumps in the world?
No.
He is a madman. He's just jumping off things. I'm like, I'm probably half your age, bud, and I'm not gonna jump off anything that big.
But yeah, I loved that event, and I really liked that age of WCW, and even into like the Wolf Pack, which was just goofy. I miss Scott Hall. Like I loved him. Like I used to. It was the only wrestler I could do an impression of because my voice was so deep, so young. So, just being able to take a breath and go, "Hey yo," like just really easy because that was his voice. But I met him once. He was the sweetest, like kindest man. And he had a hard life. He went through a lot of stuff, but like to see him in WCW, like just still kicking ass along with Kevin Nash, it was just the best. I loved WCW. I miss it. Like the WWE. I mean, there are competitors now, but like I feel like the WWE kind of homogenized a lot of wrestling for a long time. I'm glad that there's other stuff now, and there's always been independent stuff, but like it's kind of a bummer what the WWE did to wrestling, because I feel like they kind of killed it for a while until there was other stuff.
Yeah, I fully agree. You know what else really killed it in that pay-per-view match?
What?
Whoever was on the stage crew who wiggled that big demon balloon. The big demon balloon, like holding the pumpkin.
Yeah.
And all the wrestlers have to walk around it, and they just wiggle it during the entrances. Listen, I know I will probably meet a lot of wrestlers that are still living, because like the wrestling community of wrestlers, very small.
Yeah.
I very quickly was like, oh, I'm meeting television wrestlers. I've been in training for like a month. What is happening? What is occurring? Because like it's all the way down. And you're just like, hey, I want to just go do this thing that I love doing. And as long as I'm allowed to do it in places, I'm going to go to South Jersey and wrestle in a Knights of Columbus. Of course I'm going to do that.
I mean, you're not going to do it. Charles is going to do it.
Well, I'm not allowed to.
Right.
I'm banned from actually wrestling ever.
But you're sharing in Charles's excitement.
Yeah. But I go and I help out.
Yeah, that's true.
I show up and I ring crew. I still want to be a part of the community and all of that. Even though like I can only learn to wrestle from the sidelines, and I can never wrestle in a ring. I am banned for life.
Because you abandoned
forever.
CPA at a rest stop.
Because I abandoned CPA at a rest stop. Never allowed to wrestle. But it'll be really interesting to like bump into people, and go, oh yeah, I saw you in the late 90s do a thing, but god damn it, if I could meet the stagehand who had to wiggle that puppet, I would piss myself. I would piss myself. It's the same with the whatever PA had to throw the tribbles at William Shatner during the taping of The Trouble with Tribbles. These are the people I need to meet. Yeah. These are the people I need to know. Heroes. They are truly the ones that I need to encounter. These incredible backstage workers who enhance things by wiggling demon puppets.
Sometimes I look at a WCW pay-per-view set and I go, this either cost $67 or this cost tens of thousands of dollars, and I don't know which one it is.
Right,
it could be never tell. You can never tell. Yeah. I feel like this is one that was kind of expensive because it was sponsored by Snickers.
It's true.
Good
true.
Snickers
they
paid
have
for
a sponsor. Yeah, Snickers definitely paid for it.
Snickers was like, we need this big demon puppet. And it needs to have our logo on it.
We need to sell Halloween candy to children, please.
Let's freaking go. Also, my last thought is the Nitro dancers. Why?
Yeah. That was of the time. That was back in the day when we still had booth babes too at E3 and stuff. Like that was just extensions of cheerleaders.
Yeah, I love so much that I think a lot of them were like the spouses of wrestlers. Because like some of there's one of those Nitro wrestlers and like they're gorgeous. I love them, very talented. It's hard to dance. Dancing is very difficult. I am in no way trying to disparage. But one of them was just like, nope, that wasn't the move. This is the move. Got it. And it's just like, cool. We really rehearsed this. Great job, ladies. Let's go.
There were no women on the card, right? Like it was exclusively men wrestling, right?
Yeah, none. Yeah, thanks, Moolah.
Yeah.
Eat shit, Moolah.
Well, Rachel, if you had to sum up
oh god
WCW's Halloween Havoc from 1998, and you can't use any of those words I just said because I don't feel like repeating them.
I'm ready.
Which three words would you choose?
Wiggle that demon.
There you go. Yeah, perfect.
Come on.
Everything you need to know.
Come on, wiggle that demon.
Perfect podcast.
Get it, baby.
10 out of 10.
Hey.
5 stars.
Oh, get more passion. More passion.
Oh, God. Are we quoting TikToks now? That just makes me feel old.
That's a great audio.
I mean, we
clip.
do have
it
is a great audio, and we do have a true TikTok star, the gaming historian of TikTok, one Jacob McCourt.
Anyway, who's that? Oh boy,
who's that? Well, to continue in the out of orderness that we've been doing, the guest usually goes second. So, Mr. Jacob McCourt, if you please, what is the most recent thing you have engaged with entertainment-wise that isn't struck material?
Yeah, so I had a lot of options here, Matt. I know that we could have talked about the Analog Pocket for a while because I also just got one.
Nice.
But I'm going to talk about a little spooky video game called World of Horror.
Oh yeah, this is it's an indie game. It's Japanese. Is it a Japanese developer?
It's a Polish developer, but it is highly inspired by Junji Ito's work and
Lovecraft.
Japanese horror. It's set in Japan, and so imagine this like 1-bit aesthetic where it's black and white. You can change the palette a little bit. Your character is in Japan, based in like an alternate version of Japan, and you then have to take on a series of mysteries as a sort of randomly generated character in order to save the world from an apocalypse. What is this video game? It's a point-and-click adventure game, but it's sort of like an 80s, 90s style adventure game. Steep learning curve, but fun as hell.
That's awesome. And this was in early access, right?
Yeah, the 1.0 just dropped, I believe, about 2 weeks ago. But this, to your point, has been in early access for a while. This one's published by Easebird Games, which, like, their track record is just, like, for things coming out is just incredible. They just have an aesthetic for the games that they select. And so I guess another banger from them.
Yeah, I mean, there's a game that's still in development by them that I'm waiting for. The Persona-like.
Demon School.
Played Demon School. That one I'm very excited for. That one I got to play. It's funny. I played it at PAX West, and then Jeff played it at PAX East and interviewed Brandon again, which is very funny. So we have 2 interviews with the creator. But yeah, so World of Horror is like kind of retro inspired.
Yeah, exactly. It's when I say like old school adventure game, point and click adventure game, very much in that sort of like PC era of adventure games where, like I said, there's a series of mysteries and you've got a doom counter at the top that essentially says, this is when apocalypse happens. When it gets to 100%, your game is over, whether you're alive or not. And they set you on a series. It's a roguelike also, so you will have to solve 5 mysteries that there's like 20 total that you can, go after. Wow. And within there's like 2 to 5 endings each time. So even if you, complete all 20 of them once through, there's multiple endings. Sometimes, there's endings where you actually don't even solve the mystery, where you essentially just you escape, for example, and that is one of the endings, and it still counts as like a win condition for you. Steep learning curve, where very much like the interface has a lot going on. I played it at PAX on Switch, and the only thing I would say is like I would not recommend the Switch version or a console version, only because like you're gonna want a mouse to be able to like mouse through all the options. But some of the things that can happen to your character is wild. You can get spells. You can have like injuries happen to your character while you are going through the world. Stuff as easy as I got bit by a disgusting body horror monster. Or something more dire can happen where you put on a mask and then you try and take the mask off and then your face is gone, right? Jesus. So not for the faint of heart.
Is it really scary?
I would say that there's like a lot of body horror in this one.
Okay.
It is not scary. It is
creepy,
very
unnerving.
gruesome and creepy. Yeah.
Ooh,
yeah.
I can get on some gruesome and creepy stuff.
What else is there in that one? Yeah, there's just a lot of content in there. There's a surprising amount of replayability. The art itself, I have to mention, one developer made this, and all of the art is done in Microsoft Paint.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So what I would do is like if this game sounds sort of up your alley, do 2 things. You can go on the Twitter account for the developer of the game, or even like Easebird. You'll find a trailer, and the trailer is sort of like animated, not like the game, but it's got the same aesthetic. If the aesthetic speaks to you, and then you see the gameplay and you're like, ooh, that's something that like you'll look at it for 3 seconds and be like, oh, this is a thing that I need to play. It is exactly as advertised. If like point and click adventure game, Junji Ito, 80s Japan horror, like if that word soup appeals to you, it is exactly as advertised.
Are you looking it up, Rachel?
Yeah, I'm looking at. Oh, damn.
Are you? I'm guessing you're playing on PC, Jacob.
Yeah, I am playing on PC. I believe it's out on PC now, and it's coming very soon to consoles.
Yeah.
But like PC's the way, and then even when you start to, you've played through it a couple times, you can randomly generate your characters, so they have different skills going in, strength, dexterity, perception, etc. And there are multiple ways that your character can die. Your character can be killed by, a monster that is very gruesome, or they can start to like play mind games on you, and you have like a reason skill, and if your reason goes, basically to 0, you can also be institutionalized and you can game over in that way too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Huh. How fun.
Mm-hmm. That's
how fun. Yeah. You could lose your face.
I won't say more, but like there's also some wild, ways your character can change that can even affect your combat ability. Mm-hmm. Like at one point you can like grow some pretty gruesome teeth that make your character look disgusting, but also gives you a bite ability that's probably one of the best attacks in the game. You can gather like classmates to go with you who can like attack in combat on your behalf. There's weapons that you can either improvise by like just saying improvise a weapon, and oops, there's some there's like a 2x4 that I can just use to hit things, or you can find real weapons. So
that's super
it's cool. Wild, and it's a game that is probably best played in October for maybe not those with faint hearts, but yeah, World of Horror is wild and rad, and I recommend.
Cool.
If only someone for say the Gaming Brief wrote a review about it that you could read.
Oh, hey, well,
Matt, you're too good to me.
Yeah, I know.
This sort of the description that you gave. This sounds a lot like it's the love child between Betrayal at House on the Hill, the board game, where you like play it in two parts and you like explore, and then like the haunt starts and it's like a bunch of different scenarios, and also like Disco Elysium. So like sign me up. Delicious.
Delicious.
Nom nom for my brain. This game. Let's go. It's all the things I like. Junji Ito? Yes. Sprinkle that on top. Put it in my brain mouth.
Yeah, it sounds like,
as it were.
It sounds like you're really high on this game, Jacob. Is it one of your favorites of the year, do you think? Or are there too many good games this year for that to be true?
There are so many good video games this year that I
literally every
don't
game
know.
every game in my top 10 currently would have been my game of the year any other year if it came out any other year. Like, there's just so many of them.
Yeah, if this came out in another year, I would say for sure this would be on my list, but I can't say with certainty.
Fair enough. If only you had a podcast where people could hear about that kind of stuff.
Damn, man, look at you go.
Yeah, hit all the things for me. Thank you.
We'll get back to it. We'll get back to it in the back end. But Jacob, now, if you had to sum up World of Horror in just 3 words and you could not use the words world of or horror to sum it up, what 3 words would you choose?
Sorry, we took "of" from you.
Yeah,
I know.
Well, no, I was gonna say body horror nom noms, but like I can't say that because horror's in there.
Correct.
Let's say spooky adventure bliss.
There you go, spooky adventure bliss. Yeah,
man,
it doesn't have to be a sentence.
Words are hard sometimes.
Yeah, words are
hard.
If only anyone on this podcast spoke all the time into a microphone constantly. If only there were professionals here.
Yes, if only we had Champion.
Yeah, that's true.
He's very good at words.
Very cool. Yeah, no, I'm going to add it to my list. I have started, and it'll get an honorable mention here, but I haven't played enough of it. But I have started another horror-based, not adventure game. It's more a visual novel game. But I am in possession of a review. I mean, it's out now.
You're doing it, aren't you?
I got a review copy of Slay the Princess, and it's incredible. But I've only just started it. But Jeff and I plan on the video game podcast I do to have the devs on as guests at some point. Hopefully when they're less busy.
Tony and Abby seem amazing.
I love Tony and Abby. I mean, I met them at West. I think it was at West. No, it was at East. And they were great. And so, yeah. But so shout out to that also if you're looking for another spooky game. But I didn't bring a video game this week for once. I brought music because it's been a great excuse to go back to my roots. And so I brought an album that I know Rachel's also been listening to, but it is a friend of the show's brand new record, the one and only Beefy, and his new record, Crash. Beefy has been on the show before. He's an incredible nerd rapper that both Rachel and I are friendly with. Him and Tanner, who worked on this record, are hopefully going to come on in the nearest future. But Beefy has been working with the same producer, Tanner 4105, for I think the last 3 or 4 records. They've been on a run. They've all been really great. And this record's no exception. For those who don't know, Beefy does nerdcore rap. It's hip-hop, but with like a bent towards video games and wrestling and movies and, you know, good vibes. And
sometimes commuting on the subway. And
so this album's really great. And I've really been enjoying it. Related to what Rachel was talking about before, there is actually a track on this album called Brett's Rope, and it's a rap about Bret Hart and how he was like a tactician and how he used to only climb to the second rope and jump off to do like a precision note. And it's like talking about, if I recall the lyrics well enough, it's about like comparing himself to the kind of tactician that Bret Hart is, and like he's a rap tactician in the way that Bret Hart was a wrestling tactician. But also just other fun songs like Need a Boost, which is about Rocket League. He did a song called Click and Go, which is about Baldur's Gate 3 and about just like clicking your way through that game constantly. He has some darker tracks like The Future Everybody Wanted, which talks about the current state of tech and how, you know, we're getting exactly kind of what we deserve. And a track called Burn It All, which is a very like anarchist, like, let's start over, burn it all to the ground kind of track, which again, though, even though Beefy, well, there are plenty of rappers who I like who do get pretty dark. Beefy doesn't. All of those songs that are more negative, bent, or darker have like a hopeful side to them. Like a looking to the future kind of side to them, which I appreciate. He also is big into anime, so he's like got a song called Filler Arc, where he talks about how all the rappers are in their filler arc and he's thriving and surviving, and it's really good stuff. I highly recommend it. It's a great starting point, I think, for his career, too. All of his albums are really good, and I can recommend a ton of them. In fact, Jacob, to you, I would recommend a song that Beefy did with MC Lars called Uncanny. And they literally rap over a reconstruction of the X-Men theme from the Fox show.
What?
Yeah, it's not the actual song, but it's a reconstruction of it because they couldn't quite get the rights to sample it. So it's pretty one-to-one, but it's him and MC Lars rapping about watching the X-Men and watching cartoons to the X-Men theme effectively. I'll send it to you after the show, but
I'm already listening to it right now.
Oh yeah, isn't it awesome?
You're watching Jacob like vibe while we're talking. It's fucking righteous.
But yeah, I don't know really what else to say about it except Beefy continues to dominate hip hop. He is a brilliant and prolific rapper. It bums me out that he doesn't tour. I mean, he's got a very wonderful and lovely and adorable family, and he doesn't really get out on the road a ton, but like I've yet to meet him in person, and I want to at some point because he is just a delightful human. He always holds up the other creators around him. He always has great guest features, folks you either know or don't know. I can't say enough praise about this record. I think if you're looking for a good time and you're looking to I'm listening to a lot of like heavier stuff also, like the new Kesha album and K-Flay's new record are both pretty heavy. And so this has been like a nice ray of sunshine. Even the new Blink-182, which I really like, is pretty heavy. Was originally what I was going to bring before I brought this.
Thank goodness Taylor just re-released 1989.
Best album ever.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I mean, it's not the best album ever, but it's my favorite Taylor Swift album, and so
mine is still Lover.
Lover is a great record.
She just like did something to me in there. I was like, all right, I get you now, Taylor. I mean, I got you when I was a teen, and you were singing "You Belong with Me," but we were just connecting on angst.
Yeah.
Now we're connecting like a real way.
I mean, I love Lover, though I still to this day, for the end till the end of time, will say the song "The Archer" is about one of the characters from Fire Emblem Three Houses, Claude, who is an archer. Because that's my brain. And so I'll shout that forever. But yeah, no.
And the man is about Hilda.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's about Hilda. Come on, who else would it be?
She is very sick of running, just in general. Even though she has a big badass axe sometimes, which I love. Give her just the biggest axe and watch her be a little priss about everything.
Everything. Yeah, it's pretty
best version of that game.
For sure. But yeah, no, I can't recommend Crash enough. I think if you're looking for something cool to vibe with, you can't go wrong with Beefy's stuff. And then go back into the backlog. Like literally, like Too Big to Fail, Part 1 and Part 2 are both great. Like even his older stuff. Like they're all like he doesn't have a bad record, so I can't recommend it enough. And it's been getting me through this kind of relatively hard week because Beefy's just a ray of sunshine, and you deserve that in your life.
Like a hug to some beats.
Like a hug to some beats, exactly.
It's Beefy. Well, Matt,
yes.
If you had to sum up the album Crash by our friend Beefy, what 3 words would you use to just summate this piece of musical hug?
Hyphenated words count as 1 word, right?
Why not?
Sure,
if
great.
You know what? If I don't like it, I'll call foul. I'll be like, try again.
Joy through hip hop.
Joy through hip hop.
Sure,
I love that.
Yeah, I really highly recommend it. Yeah, cool. Well,
yeah. Also, hip hop is like 1 word.
It is.
Like,
it is 1 word. It's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
You can't not just say one part of it. You can't. Yeah, hip.
Hip. It means something else.
Hello. Would you like to listen to my hip album?
My hip album.
Wow, listen to this hop. Let me tell you. Ratata.
Fair point.
No.
Jacob, it's good to have you back. So the last time you were on the show,
back,
we
bud.
did our Last of Us special, which was a lot of fun with your co-host.
Oh, yeah.
Where we talked deep about zombie fiction. And now you're back. You started another podcast. So you had 2 cutscenes and Left Behind Game Club, both still running, though at a more infrequent rate.
Well, we're also not doing cutscenes because
of course, because of the strike, which solidarity. But Yeah, I love how you were like, yeah, we're going to do this big summer blockbuster season. We can't wait. Geared up. Did you record any of the episodes of that?
Yeah, and because I believe in Keep Me Honest here that the SAG rules changed with respect to like podcasters halfway through.
Yeah.
So we had everything ready to go and like we're going to put them out and then went, hey, we shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
So we're sitting on about half the season now, but like it'll come out someday once the actors get what they need.
Yeah, totally. But you started, as you like to say often on the show, you published your gaming group chat in audio form.
I did it.
So you combined your forces with other previous guests of this very show, Joseph Hooper and Luke Lewis, and made a kind of discussion-based gaming podcast. Tell us a little bit about Crossplay Conversations and what that is.
Yeah, so also we didn't mean to name our thing similar to Patrick Klepek's new thing. It just sort of happened.
Yeah.
Names are hard. And so we decided on that name because we've been talking, Luke and Joseph and I for, I would say the better part of a year, just going like, hey, we've guested on each other's shows a bunch and each time it's really fun and we've become friends and we basically talk every day in a group chat. So like, why don't we just put the thoughts that are in here into a microphone? And sort of that's how the genesis of the show happened. And we try and have a mix of like, reviews of things that we're playing that are very topical and then also like topic based stuff because I'm wildly fascinated by the business of video games and I can't apply my master's degree in business in many ways, so I'm like let's go through investors docs and go let's talk doom and gloom about the business of games, but no, that's sort of the show itself, and we're almost at 10 now, and we have no signs of stopping. And you know what it is? I mean, y'all have 1,000 podcasts, right? So when you find good peeps that you like to do pod hangs with, it just makes it easy. And that's what's been fantastic about the show is just, we've been friends for a while and we just started and it's been great since we did.
That's awesome. I love
Hell
that.
yeah.
I mean, also, I'm a little biased because I have a conversation-based video game podcast, but I like those.
We're coming for y'all.
Yeah, okay. Settle down, young man.
I'll book the match. Don't worry. I think I am allowed to book matches, even though I'm not allowed to wrestle,
I think the three of them can take me and Jeff. Me and Jeff are lovers, not fighters,
Yeah, it's a podcast on a pole match. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go, right? But I like those kinds of episodes.
Each other.
I mean, I'm infinitely jealous of podcasters who get to talk about a game per episode. I've told you this. It's why I love guesting on Left Behind Game Club, and I'm grateful to have guested all the times I have. But I also love when podcasters do conversation-based stuff because I want to talk about obviously I have a media-based show where we talk about the things we watch or do, and I love that in other mediums as well. Most of the shows that I listen to are conversation-based. There are a few video game podcasts I listen to that are a game per episode, but those are less common in my feed than the tons of I mean, I'm a huge Remap fan. I loved Waypoint. It's the same kind of thing. It's not even the same as what we both do either. It's its own bent also. And so I do like that you guys are both doing modern, you're doing news. You talked about the Xbox leaks, but you're also doing conversations about is gaming imploding? Is it bloated? We'll talk about the layoffs, all of that stuff. And I think, do you find that is harder than just talking about a game an episode?
Yeah, I think that's the thing with. Actually, they're sort of similar from a preparation standpoint where I think the thing that we wanted to go in with is we didn't want, and sometimes it ends up being this way, but we wanted to go in with these are the things we're going to talk about, not just hey, what are you playing show, which there are tons of them and a lot of great ones, and just we don't have that much to contribute because we're not super behind the scenes, we're not in the industry, so for us we were we don't want to do the what are you playing, so what sort of perspective can we take? We already have the kind of I have the Left Behind Game Club where it's very much like a book club for games. Right. So the thought was, I have to prepare for a game club show for, 10 hours, 15 hours, 20 hours. And that's sort of the reason why we took a step back is because of all the prep you had to do. And you would then only get an hour of content out of it. So this format is more just what am I playing in the moment? What is topical? What can we bring a new take to? And yeah, that was a lot of words there. It's game clubs are tough to do. And anyone, I've got a lot of them in my feed. You probably follow a lot of them too, like folks like, Dave Jackson, Tales from the Backlog. That man does a show a week, and I don't know how he does it.
It's because he's recorded 3 months ahead of time. That's how he does it. That's the only way. And it's funny, Dave, previous guest of the show, I've talked to Dave about it. He's like, if I was doing this week to week without having banked anything, I would go insane.
Mm-hmm.
It also
literally backlogging the backlog.
Correct. And I mean, he also has talked about how it's not his first podcast. Like, he was doing top 3 podcasts with his friends for a long time before wanting to do a video game specific podcast. And I think Rachel and I have been banked, and we've not been banked. Currently, we're more or less recording week to week. But yeah, I don't understand how a backlog show could do that without banking. And I know there are people who do just week to week or bi-weekly, but they're playing a game every the smartest I've seen is there's on one side there's Dave who is 3 months ahead, and then there's the low five gaming, which it's 2 brothers and they do a monthly show, and so they do a game a month, and that makes sense to me. If you're current and you're recording as you go, but it's one a month, that makes sense. I mean, same for fun and games side quests. We're banked at least 5 to 6 episodes ahead at any given time, because if I was doing 2 of those a week and I was getting them as I was doing them, it would be madness. It's hard enough to do this show every 2 weeks current. We're lucky that it's mostly bits and we get to bring on our friends, and so that makes it easier, but there are times where we're scrambling because we're trying to organize it. And ideally, we'd like to be banked in ahead, because I think that makes the kind of process easier. I assume that with crossplay, you guys are not ahead. You're recording every 2 weeks in time to try and stay current, right?
Yeah, at worst, we're 1 show ahead, and it's something that's just more topical or is not topical, where it's a topic that, is sort of evergreen, that if a news story drops, it doesn't totally nuke the episode. But I mean, that's part of the reason why, and I guess this isn't therapy, I promise, but this is part of the reason why the Left Behind Game Club slowed down, is because we got to the point in our lives where we'd been doing the show for basically 7 years. And 6 years or 7 years. And, we had run out of the short games to play. And, we all got very busy in our lives. I mean, Mike and I also work together, every single day. And then we were, getting to the point where we want to play longer games. And we just couldn't fit in, a 20-hour RPG, 30-hour RPG, and then record about it and then go, okay, now we have to worry about the show that's coming next. So I think the benefit of moving to sort of a whenever we feel like it model, we're going to end up doing 10 to 12 shows a year, but it'll, I think, give us better content. It'll let us play the longer games, and that way we don't have to play games we hate. Because I don't know if y'all are like this for any of your content, but sometimes you have to hate watch or hate listen or hate play a thing that you just y'all don't. Okay, well, just me then.
No,
I mean, that's
the intentionality of Screen Snark was to avoid that. Sometimes
Smart.
you stumble upon something, you're like, this wasn't very good. Let's discuss it in a critical manner. I never feel like we're forcing ourselves to watch anything that we would not just already be watching, because that's the point of this. We're gathering that organic snapshot of what creatives are enjoying in their spare time. This is not what you're watching for work. This is not what you're watching because you have to. This is hey, your brain is off. What did you pick?
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole point of bringing the most recent thing you've engaged with, because it's your choice. I mean, now that said, if once the strike ends, there is a certain DC film that I'll probably watch, just that. I've not really hate watched anything, but that one, just every time I hear anyone talk about it, it's worse and worse and worse, and the morbid curiosity kicks in. But for and we've done some of that, but for the most part, for most things, it's why Fun and Games was never a video game show, and why Screen Snark is about a game you love and why you love it, because I didn't want to go into that realm of hate watching or hate playing. If you, as a person, want to finish something to talk about it better, that's up to you for your show. But for me, I mean, there are 3 games if I don't finish one of the 2 PS5 games I'm currently playing, I will be playing 3 at once in a week, and I can't have that. So you have to let things go. You have to drop things. And
Spider-Man and Alan Wake, is that where you're at?
Correct. And
I got the Spider-Man also.
And Like a Dragon
Here
Gaiden is a week from today, or a week from tomorrow.
Oh,
and
no.
So, yeah, I'm running out of time.
I'm the crazy person who is playing Spider-Man Remastered for the first time right now.
Look, it's a great game.
I haven't started it yet, but it is now downloaded on my PC.
The first one?
Day. Yes?
Yeah. It's quite good.
PC is only the first one, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, so I totally get that. I think that, I don't understand how other people do it, but of course then there are times where I see them do it so well and it's like, oh, but I want to do that. Mm-hmm. And so like, it's, I think I can speak for all podcasters by saying we're never satisfied. We always want to do more. I don't know how to do one thing. Mm-hmm. I don't. And it seems.
Yeah, I just consider myself a modern day Renaissance person.
There you go.
Just because like.
Absolutely.
I just want to dabble in all of the mediums,
Yeah.
I can't help it.
Yeah. And I mean, we got to experiment too. We did a live recording at PAX West, which was, Jeff was on that one.
Yep.
And we plan on doing more of that. I think we're going to be at PAX East. So getting to experiment with format and whatnot has been sort of the best part of this.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think also Left Behind Game Club was a very, not strict, but like it had a format, right? You more or less had to stick to that format. Whereas Crossplay Conversations can kind of be whatever you want it to be. In the same way that towards the end of Autograph's run, it became whatever I wanted it to be. It was always an interview show, but like one episode was I was interviewing board game creators at a board game convention, like because that's what I wanted to do. And I think that having that kind of free, I mean, Screen Snark has been very malleable, and part of that is Rachel being malleable as well. But like we had two options when folks went on strike: to stop or to pivot, and we pivoted. And it's been a little more chaotic, but honestly, I think it's still just as fun, and the vibes are mostly the same. And it's given Rachel and I an excuse to talk about wresting mostly.
Yes. I mean, I was going to talk about wrestling regardless.
That's true.
So, nothing's going to stop me. This just was like, oh, but it's actually helpful to the show and not a hindrance.
Finger quotes.
And not a huge stopgap in listener comfortability. It's listen, wrestlers, they're not unionized, so I can talk about them, which is great for me, but terrible for wrestlers. I don't know. Maybe we should work on that, y'all. Yeah. I don't know. Unions, pretty cool.
Pretty sure everybody should go on strike at this point, I think.
Yeah.
I think.
What?
Yeah.
General strike?
Yeah, general
Let's
strike.
do it.
Rachel, are you going to start a Stardom podcast? Like, that's where my mind goes to immediately. Don't you watch a lot of Stardom?
No, I watch a lot of Tokyo Joshi Pro.
Ah, sorry, yes.
That's, yeah. Stardom, they're too good at wrestling. Not to say that Tokyo Joshi Pro is not good at wrestling. They're just also very, very silly. In a way, like Stardom is very much like this is wrestling. This is a fight. Mm-hmm. We are incredible athletes. And then Tokyo Joshi Pro is like, we are incredible athletes, but one of us is just a cat. This one over here, canonically 3 years old. Like, hey, this one can do 500 squats, but will put you to sleep by singing to you. Don't worry.
So we're
Tokyo Joshi Pro.
You're more of a DDT fan than I'm guessing.
I love the bits. I got to see Yoshihiko fight Speedball Bailey at Game Changer Wrestling at GCW, and it was one of the greatest experiences of my life because Yoshihiko is just one of those wrestlers that can just make any other wrestler look so good. For those of you who don't know, Yoshihiko is like a doll.
Is that the doll that Kenny Omega wrestled?
Yes.
Ah, yes. Okay.
Yoshihiko.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. It's just one. Yoshihiko just really knows how to work with the other wrestler, make him look like $1 million.
Greatest worker in the history of wrestling, I guess.
Just one of the greatest workers of all time. Okay. An incredible master in the ring.
It's funny. I keep forgetting because you and I don't talk about it a ton that you are such a wrestling nerd, Jacob.
Yeah, I would say like I'm not the nerdiest wrestling nerd, but like, I've been known to partake a little bit in New Japan, a little bit of AEW. TNA's coming back because sure,
why not?
And it's based in my hometown too now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, TNA Impact Wrestling is now run by Scott D'Amore, who is like originally from the Windsor, Ontario area. So many of the pay-per-views are actually at St. Clair College, which is a school that I've taught at, which is like sort of weird. And I'm going to be living like 10 minutes from there when I go. So I just imagine I'm going to go to more TNA shows.
Amazing. Well, Jeff Jarrett's not involved in that anymore, right?
Jeff Jarrett is an active AEW wrestler now.
Oh, that he is. Okay, I had thought so.
And I think he helps on the touring side too, but like
got it.
That man still takes bumps.
I mean, Jeff Jarrett.
No, weird inside knowledge that I have. A lot of the AEW folk also do other stuff in the back end. Like Bryce Remsburg, the referee, is also like the travel coordinator for everybody.
That's
so like
great.
Oh, interesting.
It's one of those great things about wrestling. Like just a bunch of people that are like, yeah, I'll help. I'll do whatever. Yeah, you need someone to book travel. I'll do it, and then I'll count to 3.
Yeah,
eventually.
I just loved Mega, who was like their actual lawyer, was like the on-screen lawyer for a lot of time, where she would like do the contract signings in the ring, but also was AEW's like general counsel, which I love.
Yeah, I love that.
Brilliant. That's really funny. I mean, that was a lot of the shtick in the WWE for a long time too. Like, I mean, Vince McMahon was the owner, but was like a commentator for a long time before he was involved in the stories, and even Gorilla Monsoon, I feel like in the early days was like also out and like would come out in the ring. Wrestlers would mess with him, that kind of thing. Man, WWE, I used to love it so much. Now it just feels like a shit show. I haven't watched it in a long time, so I have no
Can I
idea
tell you the
what's going
match
on
that
there.
got me into wrestling?
Yes, please.
Please.
It was Cody Rhodes as Stardust, wrestling
something Cody. Every time
with Neville, who now goes as Pac, Bad News Barrett, Wade Barrett, and then Stephen Amell. That was the match that got me into wrestling.
Amazing.
Oh,
I forgot.
Arrow himself.
I forgot that he wrestled for a little while.
Yep.
Yeah, because he did that show Heels.
He's
I
still
think
doing
that show's
it,
still,
I think. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's currently running just because of the strike, but I think there was a recent season of it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I believe CM
who knows
Punk
if he'll
and
work?
others.
Who knows if he'll ever work again after saying that he didn't believe in strikes? So which he eventually walked back. He did, but like the damage was done.
Yeah, he had.
Hey, Bud. Hey, Steven. Hey, Steven. Hey, Bud.
Not that good of an actor. You're a good actor, but
Hey, Bud. Hey, guess how we got the 8-hour work week?
yeah.
Hey, Bud. Guess how we abolished child labor? Hey, dude. Things that are nice for the workers, we fought for them.
Famously, listener of this very podcast, Stephen Amell, obviously.
Yeah, Steven.
Yeah.
Steven. Come on the show. Let me indoctrinate you to the power of working collaboratively and collective bargaining. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, ask him on to talk about his SummerSlam appearance many years ago, and then be like, but also let's talk about labor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, hi.
Actually, I like that you brought this up, Jacob, because I think it'd be fun for each of us to talk about the matches that got us into wrestling. For me, it was actually strangely sort of related. So the first match I ever remember watching was, I think, a King of the Ring, but it was Goldust, the father of Cody Rhodes, Cody Rhodes' father. I loved Goldust, versus Hunter Hearst Helmsley before he was Triple H. And I believe it was a King of the Ring. And like, I just didn't know I was queer at the time. Loved Goldust. Thought he was incredible. Couldn't put my finger on why though. That match, I was like, wait, this is wrestling? Like you can wear makeup and like suck in air and touch yourself and then go kick someone's ass? This is a thing you can do?
Yes.
And
pretty great.
I remember, and they had a feud, I think, at the time too. They were like feuding with each other back then. This was like mid-90s, I think. It was right before the Attitude Era. Like it was on the cusp of it. But yeah. And then of course, I think either in that same pay-per-view or very shortly after, I saw The Undertaker come out, all black and like bury someone. And I was like, oh, this is my favorite wrestler forever.
Dustin Rhodes is still wrestling. Goldust is still wrestling.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Where is he wrestling?
In AEW.
Wow.
But I think he's like on his final year or two of wrestling.
I mean, he's no spring chicken.
He can still go.
No.
Yeah.
He can absolutely still go.
What about you, Rachel? What was the match that got you into wrestling?
I hate to say I don't have a specific match.
Okay, that's all right.
Yeah, just because like the art form itself of wrestling has been so ubiquitous around me. Like I've always known like Macho Man Randy Savage. Like I had a wrestle buddy of Macho Man Randy Savage, not because I liked Macho Man, but like it looked like my dad, and I was little enough to be like, this is my dad. Like, can I have this, please? You know, and so there's just if as someone who was very far outside of wrestling in my youth, wrestling was very ubiquitous. It was all over the place. Like I always knew of these big wrestlers, like, oh yeah, they do fighty things. Yeah, I never really like understood it. And my granny also was like a huge wrestling fan, like absolutely huge.
My granny too.
Huge, loved it. And she was correct when she said wrestling is real, because wrestling is absolutely real.
Of course, 100%.
And everyone tried to tell her it wasn't, and I'm like, no, I'm in it now. It is very real. Yeah. Absolutely true. That guy that says he's a wizard, he is a wizard.
It's true.
Do not question it.
No.
Absolutely a wizard. We'll swear it to my dying day. Now that I'm in, I know that it's real because I'm in it now.
Right.
You mean Charles is in it?
But well, I'm adjacent.
Got it.
I manage Charles. I'm not allowed to wrestle. That's it. That's the only thing. I just wanted to
clarify.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a real true thing. That is true that I cannot wrestle. It is tragic, but you know, Charles can, and I am, you know,
restricted
like
to the sidelines.
I'm taking care of Charles as best I can. But I feel like I've told this story on this show before, but sort of like the thing that really is like the big deal for me was the moment I realized I wanted to pursue wrestling. And that was all because of AEW.
Right.
And not just like a match in particular, but like a series of matches. Like I remember watching Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy as a tag team against the Lucha Brothers, Penta and
Ray Phoenix.
Thank you, Ray Phoenix, and just being like, this is so fun. Like it was I think that match for me was the first time I started realizing like, oh, we're doing stories here. It's not just like we're beating the piss out of each other. And then like I think the Lucha Brothers really did a lot for me in particular, because I remember when I was just like watching AEW, there was one match where one of the opponents, I can't remember, it might have been FTR, I can't quite recall, I was still very new, still learning everybody's names, but like the Lucha Brothers really stuck with me from like moment one. And somebody tied Penta's mask to the rope, and then they started pounding on Ray Phoenix, and Penta like rips his mask off, covers his face, because in Lucha, if your face is revealed, then you're done.
Yeah.
You're done. You're over. You might as well be dead. Like that's it. Like it's a big deal. And like even I knew that. You know, I think I knew that from watching like movies about Lucha, starring weird guitarists who play saxobooms. But like the amount of emotion that I suddenly felt, I was like, this man loves his brother so much that he is willing to die as a wrestler for him. Like it was so evocative. And suddenly I was just like watching this, like, I want to tell these kinds of stories. I want to try that. I'm really interested. So it wasn't a match, but if I'm going to blame any like legitimate wrestling thing and not just like wrestling was always funny and interesting. And like, I always thought about like, oh, what would it be like if I were a wrestler? That was the thing that was like, oh, this is the power of it. This is the power that we're playing with. You know, this is someone tugging on my heartstrings by like throwing forearms. Like, what are we doing? So I think that was the one. And then the match that made me realize that Charles had a space, and I was like, hey Charles, there's a space for you here with your weird gimmick, was the first time I ever saw CPA wrestle.
Sure.
Weirdly enough.
Nice. Bring it back to
just
our previous
like
guest.
Oh yeah, like here's this very, very silly guy who is ripping his shirt off a bunch and everybody's loving him. Like, let's go.
Matt, didn't I message when you posted this and said he's an accountant?
Yes, you
yeah,
did.
he's an accountant. Yeah, he's an accountant, wrestling, burlesque wrestling,
Incredible.
wrestling superstar.
10 out of 10.
10 out of
10
10.
out of 10 on
CPA
that.
rules.
10 out of 10 on CPA right over there.
If only someone didn't leave them at a rest stop. But we won't guilt you for that forever.
Yeah, it's okay. You know, Charles still gets to wrestle. She didn't do anything wrong.
It's true. Not all Charles. Anyway, Jacob, thank you for joining us. This was wonderful to have you back.
That was a great little moment we had back there. Enjoyed it immensely.
Before we wrap up and ask you our final question, I would love for you to tell folks where they can find you online, where they can find your new shows online, your old shows online, and pretty much everything else that you do.
Yeah, so I think the best place is on twitter.com, because I will not call it the other thing. At Jacob McCourt. All the things are there. We've mentioned Crossplay Conversations, my new conversation-based gaming podcast. It's available everywhere. The Left Behind Game Club is a semi-regular game club podcast that is still going. And then you might find me at some conventions doing video game trivia. So all my things are on Twitter, so please follow me there. I won't call it X. I never will. Nope.
No, never.
No.
Never. Nope. I don't believe in dead naming except Twitter. Not my line, but I continue to use it. Also, you can find Jacob and video game trivia at Giant Bomb. You go to Giant Bomb's YouTube channel. The most recent video game trivia is up there, which is pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was... to have that happen was sort of like a wild moment as someone who's sort of followed. I think I have a Giant Bomb cup on my desk somewhere over here, and there's Giant Bomb art on my wall right here. But it was sort of, this is an audio medium, but I imagine there are Giant Bomb things behind me. But it was just like a really wild moment to, one, collaborate with folks that are on the site, having Lucy and Jake Decker sort of on the panel itself. Jeff is on that panel as well. But yeah, to be on Giant Bomb was wild. So find us there. And again, thank you for having me again for the third time.
For the third
3 strikes, he's out. Never again.
No, that's not true.
No, always. We love.
Do we make a wrestling podcast? Is that what we're doing? Anyway, sorry, go on.
Don't
tempt me with a good time. Do you know how many wrestling podcasts I've almost started with people? A few. So don't.
You got it.
Before we
but also if we did a wrestling podcast, you would understand how very little I know about wrestling. It is embarrassing when it's like, do the Shawn Michaels, and I'm like, who? What's a Shawn Michaels?
The Heartbreak Kid.
What's he do? What's he about? I don't know.
Took me a long time.
Roman Reigns? Why? He's a dog? He big?
Yep.
I don't know.
It took me a long time to understand the punniness of Sweet Chin Music, by the way. I was just like, I don't understand. Anyway, Rachel.
Nope, still don't get it.
Fine.
What?
Why don't you...
Music.
Wait, what order? Oh, right. We have to thank some people. Rachel, help
yes,
me.
We do.
Help me escape the
show. I was still thinking about there's a pun in Sweet Chin Music, and I haven't found it yet, and that makes me very upset. Please and thank you. No puns intended. To John Presnell for the use of the song Aurora off the album Fair Game featuring Stefan Rimble. We love it as our entrance and our exit music as we raise our hand and we say we want another podcast.
Aurora.
Look at us. The match was us versus the podcast, and we won.
We dominated. Also, thank you to the incredible Katie Bug, a.k.a. Katie Beastie, for redesigning our awesome show art and making us look even hotter. Thought not possible, and yet here we are with hotter logos.
Who knew?
Who knew?
Dang.
Probably should thank our podcast network, too.
Yes, and thank you so much to the Certain Point of View Podcast Network for always being a chill vibe, a cool hang. We love everybody over there. You can check out all of the shows that are currently running over on our website, certainpov.com. I don't know why I'm banging my fists while I'm saying this, but here we are. You can also find a permanent link to our Discord server where you can shout at us via text. Directly to us, at me about things.
Rachel me and tell me what it, so it won't matter.
I never check it, so you can say whatever you want. You can tell me that I'm such a poser because I don't know what a Roman Reigns is. Even though I had to cut a promo on him once, and I was like, I don't fucking know. Hello?
You can also...
I'm gonna fight you, bud.
Oh, good Lord. You can also rate and review this podcast on the podcast platform of your choice, especially Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It takes a few seconds. We greatly appreciate it. It helps us to get featured so folks can find us. Go rate and review all of Jacob's podcasts as well. 5 stars.
Yeah.
5-star podcast.
Yeah. I demand it now. I was settling for 4, but you know what?
I demand 5.
5 stars.
No, never 4.
Always 5.
I
or I don't
thought
want
maybe I could appeal to them and be like, hey, you don't have to give us 5. Just give us something. Give us 5.
Give us
what
5.
else? What else? It costs you nothing.
It does cost you nothing.
5-star matches, 5-star podcasts.
There you go.
Yep.
There you
Tell
go.
Jim Cornette.
Oh, good
No,
Lord.
I will not do that.
Jim Cornette would puke if he knew about me.
That's probably true. That's probably true.
Just as a human being who exists, he'd be like,
yeah.
He'd probably hate everything I stand for.
Also probably true. I don't even know where I was going. Rate and review. You can also reach us on social media. We're still on twitter.com at @screen_snark. You can also find us at Screen Snark Pod on Blue Sky. I think that's it. So, I did also almost forget to thank Case Aiken, who designs our individual episodes.
I was so glad. I thought you'd finally joined me on no thank you, Case Aiken. no thanking, Case Aiken.
Thank you, Case Aiken.
5-star frog splash to Case Aiken.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
from the top rope. I'm gonna get you in front of your child.
but now. It is time to wrap up the show.
I'll make your child cry. I'm going to frog splash you so bad.
Rachel, please ask our guest our final question so we can go home. We're all home.
Never. Okay. Jake. Hey, Jake.
You'll get there. I believe in you. Yeah.
I love the idea of making Case's baby cry, though. It's pretty good.
It is pretty good.
Pretty great stuff right here. This show has gotten really unhinged, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's what happens when we bring back a guest who's also a friend. It's a problem. I'm gonna blame Jacob.
We no longer have to do the hello, welcome. This is your first visit. Yeah. Let us be really good hosts. Here's the best water. Now we're like, no, water's in the fucking fridge.
Go get it.
Frog splashes to our enemies.
You're frog splash. You know what? Actually, that is. Here we go. You've inspired me, Jacob, because we've already asked you the standard question.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's true.
And probably a twist on the standard question. I want to know if you could successfully do any wrestling finishing move, which would it be?
Oh, I want to be a one-winged angel person. That is the one I want. I just want Kenny Omega's moveset. I want to V-trigger someone into Oblivion, which, for those who don't know, is a rising knee strike, which looks really good, followed by
absolutely brutal.
One-winged angel, which you put someone in an electric chair position on top of your shoulders, and then you essentially bring them to the ground in just a beautiful, beautiful Final Fantasy VII inspired naming, beautiful move.
I mean, it has to be, right? Named for Final Fantasy VII. That's not a coincidence.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, Kitty Omega once came out to
One-Winged Angel.
No, to
Final Fantasy VII's theme, Sephiroth's theme.
No, yes, but also what is the Undertale song?
Megalomania.
Megalomania and dressed as Sans.
Oh, that's right. I do remember that.
Wrestlers. Fucking nerds.
Yeah, it's true.
Just watch Kenny's Quest.
They're so nerdy.
Kenny's Quest is a great little vignette that played before one of his entrances, and I believe Toby Fox was involved in it.
Oh, that's neat.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, great answer, Jacob. Jacob, thank you for coming back on the show.
Yeah, thank you, Jacob. If I ever learn how to do these things, I promise I will find you and I will teach you.
Love it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Amazing. I also have to thank my brilliant, badass, and sometimes obnoxious co-host, Rachel Quirky Shank.
Yes.
Go ahead. Don't you have something to say?
I certainly
Rachel?
do.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, you should be thanking me.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Okay.
I simply must thank my Wiggle That Demon co-host. Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon.
That's me. And we'd like to thank you, our incredible listeners. We could not do this show without you.
We love you so much.
We do love you. We will see you on the picket line or on a couch somewhere. Bye-bye.
Aurora.
or frog splashing Case Aiken?
Okay. Oh my god.
We've made difficult decisions.
And there are still more ahead of us.
2 people aren't enough to save the galaxy.
We need the toughest,
Smartest.
deadliest allies.
We need you.
We need you to join us.
And listen to Reignite.
A certain point of view podcast about storytelling.
Love.
And Mass Effect.
Join us every other Thursday as we fight for the fate of an entire galaxy.
You can find us everywhere you get your podcasts.
Or at certainpov.com/reignite.
We're counting on you.
We should go.
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.